Okay, I'd like to begin the presentation where you please recap where we are as far as the objective and positioning for the
Tom
project.
McNulty mimics the workplace in his advanced packaging design critiques. He expects everyone to have concise critique comments, guided by the criteria he has set out for them, but he retains his position as manager of the team.
Color. And also you've got bottle shape. So I want to really pick a direction today. I know you have a couple of studies here for the display, and what we select on this table is really going to represent what you do in the display. Okay? So why don't you go ahead, start and take us through where we are in the project and the mood board and how that represents to the concept you have on the table.
Alright, so as you know, I'm doing a project, a skincare project for Nautica, and it's actually geared towards rowers, which is a sport, very old sport.
Let me just ask you
Yeah.
before you get started on the concept, is this something that's going to be more of an outdoor skincare, or is this something that's going to be more as a everyday?
It's a skincare that basically has indoor and outdoor. So basically it's geared towards your skin in terms of because of when you're rowing, you're outside in the wind, so I will have lotion with SPF, then I'll have also body wash. So I'm just trying to think of the needs of the rowers.
Got it.
And then I'll have creams like hand cream or I mean a facial cream or body cream. So that will be the indoor.
Okay.
But the outdoor would be the lotions, the SPF.
Okay, great.
So.
Okay, that's going to have a big effect on what we pick in colors. So as we go around the room today, I really like to keep in mind what you've just told us about your positioning. I think we're all in agreement that Nautica was the appropriate brand to support. The two names you came up was Endurance and Reflection, is that
Right.
correct? So with that said,
The students had time before class and during the students' presentation to formulate their critique comments. Tom could call on any one of them to comment.
So, Carissa, I'm going to start with yourself. On the table, given what her positioning, what is the design based on color and position that you see works and does perhaps may not for yourself? I'd like to now have all of you come over and make some comments. So if you would, please join us. Okay, Carissa, I'd like to start with you. Based on Pethia's criteria, what she put together, design objectives, mood board, which design is really working best for yourself?
I really like what's going on in 9. I think the addition of the third crew member gives it depth, and it works really well. I know last week he only had 2. I like the color. I think the color is very neutral for a female and male audience. And I think if you wanted to include the red, the orange, you can add it in the caps.
Trevor.
I agree with number 9. The dark colors are pretty masculine though, but who says we can't break that rule? You know, it could just be really slick and sophisticated for women. I like this logo. It's really strong, but it works the best when the bars are light and the rowers are dark. When they're the same color, it just bleeds into like a blob. But I also think that number 1 is interesting. It's really sharp, concise, and a neat little mark. And that orange, that shout of orange really stands out from the package. So maybe some orange could be brought into that.
Okay.
A little extra perk.
Good comments.
You can tell by the level of participation in Tom's class that they know their input is valued. Tom does a very good job of validating their comments while making his own preferences very clear. Asking, "Do you agree?" is a genuine question and a time for him to clear up any misunderstandings or unclear points with the student.
It kind of makes it to me more upscale.
Okay.
So maybe I'm not final on the colors, but that was just...
Okay, before we make a final comment, there are some things I'd like to look at. I agree with all of what you've said. I also want to evaluate the usage of the Nautica brand. Also the placement, like looking at her mood board as we talked about, she has some visuals of the oar, which kind of comes back in the play of what she's recommending. As we look at the coloration, that's a very subjective area, but as an outdoor, she said SPF and others, I think this is also a really strong direction color-wise. I think the lockup of what you've done with the Nautica, I think the name, Endurance, is a wonderful name. I think it really supports, and it's very clear what you're trying to say with the brand and support to that brand. So I agree with the comments. I think this is really probably your strongest direction, both from a design And I'm going to go along with the recommendation on that. I think it's right on the mark.
Okay, let's discuss our criteria for critiquing storyboards. The purpose of these
Jonathan Fung builds on the same criteria list throughout the semester in his still photo and storyboarding class for motion pictures and television freshmen. Sometimes he puts the criteria on a handout for students to refer to in their discussions. In this critique, the list of criteria on the whiteboard.
Here's some of the criteria that I want to look at. Of course, the technical aspects, exposure, depth of field, focus, and lighting. And then really look at the aesthetic aspects of storytelling, your shots, your angles, camera moves. Even though they're stills, we can look at where you're panning, where you're tilting, where the zooms are coming in. Also composition, how everything is framed is very important. And then transitional elements as well as continuity. Okay, class, so let's gather around, come up here. Let's look at this first set of storyboards. And then I want you to break up into your small groups so then you can discuss the criteria on the board. Everybody come around.
Students have a chance to look at the work, then sit in small groups to critique it among themselves. Group work allows students to test out their feedback on each other first before having to speak in front of the whole class. It also encourages students to look at each other, not only to the teacher for feedback.
Hopefully you guys had enough time to kind of just go over the criteria on the board. Let's all come around here. Yeah. So let's look at this first storyboard. Again, we should have the shots in place when we shoot our film, our final project this week. So let's look at the first shot here.
Jonathan still directs the final critique, pointing out points well done and points for improvement.
The feet right here. Look here. That works really nice.
He still includes students in the discussion, giving them a chance to share the ideas they have developed in their group discussions.
Where they are with each other, or
we could do that. That could be a shot too. That could work out.
like have them out of focus in the background.
It could be out of focus. Put the depth of field on her. Blow them out. And then what we can do.
Jonathan's feedback is constructive, and he continues to be encouraging with these first semester motion picture students.
Thursday, have this worked out. Meet with your actors. Go back over. Come up with a shot list. And let's move on to the next storyboard. Everyone, let's come over to this one here.
Well, we're going to critique our homework assignment, and I actually really love critiques because I think critiques are a good way for us to learn some of the concepts. We can see everyone's work, how hard they worked on their pieces, and it's a good way for us to reinforce everything that we did in our assignment. So the first thing I want to do is give you the grading criteria for this particular project.
Notice how Carol is going through the criteria for the assignment one by one. The students' responses to her specific questions about the criteria let her know if the class is internalizing the concepts.
Arrangement of fabric that you feel really works. Yes, Taylor.
I don't know who that is, but the one with that.
Carol Nunley does a wonderful job of involving the whole class in the critique, even at a beginning level. In this fashion sketching for communication class, she is critiquing the work as a group. This is particularly effective for large classes, or classes where you are teaching basic skills.
Who's are we here? This is Annika. Where are you? Yeah, I love it. It looks fantastic. Did you? It looks like you got fully involved in it. You got excited about it. Is this true?
Well, at first,
When there is a point for improvement, it is important, especially at the introductory levels, to show how to do something better right on the spot.
I don't know,
So you can see how, though, that you really understood the idea of the curving and the fabric forms.
Carol involves students by encouraging student comments and asking questions of the student who created the work. Both of these techniques build trust and lead to a good level of student participation in her critiques.
You're always ready for the next drawing. You know, you want to try something new. So Maybe you're just, that's what makes you such a good artist, is you're not satisfied with it, you want to push yourself.
And I like the position of the...
Inspiring students to do better is crucial to getting students to do their best work and also to building trust in the classroom.
It does. And there's complexity, there's simple areas, it's just beautifully stated. So I think you did a really good job, and it works well. Now, does anybody see another one up here that has an interesting fabric arrangement?
Leah's up there with a pillow and a pillowcase, I'm assuming.
It's actually a canvas, like, hamper, and the towel it crumples.
Oh, okay.
Over the towel. It's actually like a circular,
Very clever.
basket.
Yeah,
Very
good job. How long did it take you to do yours?
I don't know, probably 10 minutes.
Excellent, excellent. So she's also drawing fairly rapidly. She's understanding what we're doing here in class.
Letting students know the overall acceptability of their work is very important, especially in the lower levels where students are still developing an eye for the basics.
Because it's so close up and it's really bold. I just think it's cool.
Now, let's talk about this one.